Sometimes I like to walk around. Hey, this is a great event. It's really grown over the years. It's great to see so many developers and mobile SPs and different people here. It's really grown and expanded, and it's just great to see that growth. And you know, Tropo actually started working with Alan a couple of years ago. He helped us with our marketing plan and our outreach to developers and to mobile SPs. So it was great to work with Alan and really get kick-started with some outreach, and he made some introductions for us that were very helpful to our early development. Again, he helped with our business planning, and you know, it really helped with our eventual acquisition by Cisco, because those things all count to valuation, and that's obviously very important for any kind of exit. So it was a great experience, and I highly recommend Alan's organizational skills, but then also his ability to really boil things down to a concise message. So very helpful. He's also very opinionated, so he'll tell you if it sucks. Anyway, we'll get into the presentation. So we had a couple of different choices from an acquisition perspective. You know, different directions we could go. We were obviously in the VC hunt as well, and had term sheets and things from different venture capitalists, and so there was kind of a decision for us. And you know, when we talked to Cisco and to the Cisco executives for Collaboration Technology Group, it became clear that we could make the most impact in really changing the way people work, the way people collaborate, by working and by joining Cisco. So it was a great outcome and something that we see very clearly. So they had some very lofty goals that they set out for us, and we're in the process of getting ready to announce those, and that's why Jason and Jose de Castro, our CTO, cannot attend this meeting. So the vision has not changed, though. We work with developers. That is our MO. So those developers live within service providers. They live within large enterprise. They're the great quantity of developers that are out there trying to develop their ideas, trying to make those ideas work. And what we do is give them access to great tools, great capabilities, and now as part of Cisco, we give them access to a market, which is really what developers want at the end of the day. They want to be able to sell their idea, sell their concept, sell their product to a market. And so we leverage the Cisco sellers, which is an enormous quantity of people out there that are running and have relationships with those service providers, with enterprises, really across the world. So 18,000 sellers. They're a beast, a group that is just very aggressive and has those deep relationships with those enterprises. So that's a great market opportunity for the developers we work with. But it really still is about making that developer experience really easy, and making it easy to get going, and really to help address those market opportunities. So again, Tropo is extremely developer friendly, and we allow developers to build applications very easily from a cloud-based model. So the tools and capabilities are all in the cloud, very easy to access, very easy to sign on, and development is always free for developers. So we've kept that logic and kept that methodology together as part of Cisco, and now we lead the developer initiative really across Cisco and across the CTG portfolio. So I'll get into that in just a second, but it's really a broad base of capabilities that we now offer and now make available to developers. So this is really a busy slide, but it helps describe what we do as part of Cisco, so what our charter is within Cisco. So there's all the Cisco capabilities that you see broken down on the left-hand side of the screen. So unified communications, which is a very significant portfolio for us. Conferencing from WebEx, some of the new collaboration tools like Spark that are all there and in kind of isolated bubbles right now. So the methodology and the concept is to bring those together in a single portal and make those available to developers for being able to mash those solutions up and access some really incredible capabilities like video from Spark, from the Spark Media Server, excuse me, I want to make sure I have the list here. So video, chat, screen share, conferencing, and of course the voice capabilities and messaging capabilities that are offered by Tropo today. So making those available from a single portal, single sign-on, very easy to access and mash up and offer solutions to your customers or to your product teams if you're in a mobile service provider. So really some incredible capabilities. And then we're also working, and Joe Fu's in the back of the room, he runs business development for me out of the Bay Area, with some of those large brands and some of the partner ecosystem for Tropo, so that we can actually start seeding some of those applications and services for the mobile service providers that are always asking us for, how do I deliver something to market? Well, we want to make sure that we have the partners and some of the products ready to go to leverage these capabilities. So that's another part of the equation and very important, because sometimes it's really hard for a business case like the gentleman was just talking about to get started within a mobile service provider. It's very difficult to actually put together a business case. But if you have a product or service that's ready to go, it's a lot easier to do, right? So very helpful to have that together. So the key thing that we work on with service providers is the ability to differentiate services. No longer is it the same old world of having a single product and a feature set and being really beholden or caught by your vendor and your vendor strategy. Being able to take a solution and then extend it is very important to the service providers that we deal with. So that's the logic behind the API set that we offer. But also making sure that those are very simple. So the APIs are very simple, they follow the same methodology, and again, they're accessible from the same location. So it's easy for developers to use and access. And then the whole theme is really around collaboration, and making collaboration easier and changing the way people work. And so that's the methodology by which we make those APIs available to the developers. So some of our priorities within Cisco really are about making these target markets easy. So we work with small businesses, but then also large enterprises, and that spectrum in between. Government agencies, healthcare, they're all the key markets that we're really focused on from a vertical perspective. And mobile first. I mean, mobile first is really key and logical in this market. I always talk about mobile service providers, but that's really the key market that we're after right now. That's where all the investment's happening, that's where the interest is in, and really making that single identity, that mobile identity primary for these capabilities is really what the market is asking for right now. Obviously, cloud makes it a lot easier to sell and a lot easier to fulfill. And so the Cisco Cloud is being built out globally to be able to offer these solutions, starting with North America, extending to Europe, South America, Asia Pac, as quickly as possible, because cloud is the delivery model that we're approaching as the most important one right now. And with Cisco, because we have a big focus on security, we work with government agencies and healthcare companies and large enterprises that have a big focus on security. Security is always woven through the story there. So making sure that that's very secure, and they also have the correct security methodologies to apply to different use cases and businesses. And again, cloud makes it easy to use this. No longer is it about big capital investments up front, but being able to start and experiment and then extend those solutions as quickly as possible to really address the competition that we see in the OTT market by helping the mobile service providers do that as quickly as possible as well through a cloud methodology. So we're really big, and it's kind of hard for us to sometimes consume that. It's almost like dealing with Cisco is like dealing with an AT&T or Verizon for us, or a Deutsche Telekom. But very strong market share across the board, which makes us a very attractive partner for developers, because that existing market share allows us to, or requires us to be able to plug in and enhance those solutions. And people these enterprises come to Cisco for these the assurance that their investment is secure over time. And so we're working on ways to extend, even premise-based gear into the cloud and enhance that with APIs, which is a very important statement. So I'll hit on some of the capabilities that we're doing. This is just a high level. Again, we're compressed for time. But really extending the unified communication portfolio to mobility is key. So from the native dialer, many of you might have seen the announcement we had with Apple about a month ago. That allows us more access to the native dialer from Apple and from iOS. But a lot of the innovation happens in the core network. So integration into the core mobile network is really key here. And it's not enough to do it just on a single island of an AT&T or a Vodafone. It has to be an addressable market that's very large for developers to be interested in that, and developers from the big brands in Silicon Valley and across the world to be able to really look at that as a single addressable market. So just some of the capabilities, and if you're in the core network, there's a lot of really cool things you can do, and we can talk about that over dinner. One of the key innovations from a collaboration perspective is also Cisco Spark. So, this is free to download. You guys should try and use this. It's a chat capability, but also you can access voice capabilities from the Spark Media platform, and then also video, doing screen share. It's really cool. And again, this is a big push of what we're doing for the Cisco Collab Summit in December. So keep your eyes open for that. And that is what Jose is heads down on right now, because the launch is December 8th for the single portal for Spark APIs that's being launched on the Collab Summit in December. And again, man is not an island unto himself, right? Alan always knows the quotes. but it's very difficult to compete with OTTs. We mentioned WhatsApp a second ago, and WhatsApp was able to achieve that by offering a single experience really across mobile service providers. But they work with mobile service providers for authentication and things like that. If you noticed, it was always the mobile number that was primary for identification there. So really, what we're doing is working across that consortium of mobile service providers that we deal with as Cisco. And the brands and the relationships that we have, led with Cisco products and services, to really create a single market that is very attractive for developers. Any large brand, be it eBay or Salesforce.com, wants to be able to develop once and deploy to many service providers and their markets. There's obviously localization that's required with that, with different languages and different cultures. But for sure, they want to be able to develop the code once and deploy massively. And that's what we're talking about here, and being able to address this for the developers in the room, but then also the service providers in the room and the broader ecosystem. It's a big tent. So really, just in closing here, I can't read my screen, it's too small. So we're actively recruiting ISVs and partners, developers. So Joseph Fu's in the room. Stand up, Joseph, wave your hand. Come talk to him. He's a source of all goodness for that, based in the Bay Area, but expanding the team broadly. Key verticals: healthcare, insurance, government, et cetera. Those are the key verticals that Cisco is very focused on right now, and a key vertical for every SP that we deal with globally. And so again, watch out for the new API capabilities that are available. So voice and messaging are key, but video capabilities, screen share capabilities, they really allow the developer to do some cool stuff. And I think video is really the killer application right now, to be able to meld that into your solution. Again, the single portal is key. Everything's delivered from the cloud. And really, like I said, the most important thing that we deliver is the ability to access these markets and give you access to the Cisco sellers as well, because those are really aggressive folks that can help expand and enhance your offering. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. Do we have any questions from the audience? I'll just quickly for Dean, and I know what his question's going to be, but I'll let him ask it.
No mention of the word Ericsson.
Well, you saw last week we have an announcement with Ericsson. So, Actually, I'm meeting the Ericsson folks here in Europe this week to kind of expand that and enhance that relationship. So Cisco's partnering more broadly with Ericsson globally.
They're going to merge. We know the end story.
No, we denied that. We denied that.
Thank you so much, John. That was
Thanks.
excellent.